Car's sounding great. Yes. Oh, shit. Lamborghini is a brand that I love. I love the designs, obviously very evocative. When I was a kid, you grew up loving the Countach, Urracos, Yalpas. That was the thing that you strived for and is exciting and evocative. And years ago, I got to the point where I was thinking, I need to go all in and work hard and figure this out and get a Countach, because if I don't now, I never will again, which was really smart thinking. I should have remembered that when I did, in fact, get to where I had a Countach. Suffice it to say, I had a Countach. It was a very special one, but at that time, no one appreciated it. But I swear, just me, and my life was not as such that I could sit on such an expensive asset when it was basically the entirety of my net worth. And it went away. I still appreciate the cars just as much, but it seems that the rest of the world decided to start appreciating them as much monetarily. So it's put it into another league, which does hurt a little bit. But that being said, as car guys, we always keep looking for how do we achieve those dreams and feelings and experience. Lamborghinis are expensive. For a long time, I was thinking, I'm gonna get a Murcielago. And then I realized, wait, I've been doing a nonprofit forever and the prices are going up. Maybe not as soon. So I started looking and thinking, maybe if I sell a bunch of stuff and really try hard and smash my piggy bank, I could get into a Gallardo. And so I was kind of looking. And when I say kind of looking, meaning I was endlessly scrolling and searching through Facebook marketplaces. I'm probably too addicted to do, as my wife will attest. And car pops up. Black Gallardo. Black's not my first choice, but whatever. And it was coupe, and it was, of course, a gated manual. Which I do have to do a sidebar in the story. My snobbery against paddle shifting came from when I was in college being a part-time Ferrari mechanic. Because that was in the days when the first paddle shifted Ferraris were 355s, and we hated them. They made the car slow, uncool to drive, and we felt good because we could double clutch and toe heel downshift and get a lot of reward for that with the vintage cars. So that's where my snobbery from that came from, which has held mostly true through to this day. But if I'm going to get a Gallardo, I want it to be manual. Anyway, this car was. It was also super low mileage. It was like 9,000 miles. And the price was right. I think they were asking 90 for it. So I'm thinking, yeah. And I called up Ed. I was like, Ed, what do I need to know with this thing? And he told me some things. The early cars, you got to be really nice to the oil systems and the bearings because they're a little weaker. So you want to have service records and all that. And so that, of course, scared me. And I was being real particular about it. I was calling the guy, and there was somebody representing it, and there was a guy who owns it, and the guy's trading a Rolls Royce and moving around. And apparently there's other people looking at it, and somebody's already had it or is sending it to a dealership to get a PPI inspection done. They gave me the number to the dealership that serviced it, and I actually talked to the mechanic that worked on it. So I just talked to him like I normally would with a car and judged his answers and reactions, and I'm like, no, I think this is a pretty good car. And the price range, I'm like, I think I got enough to make a choice and make a deposit on it. No one had put a deposit on it. So I talked to my wife. I said, I think we need to really think if this is possible. Like, I don't think I'm going to get this shot again. And this car's checking off all the boxes. It was a big thing to do, but we were able to just do it at the time, just with some help. Got that going and decided to put a deposit on it. So I got the deposit on it, which was funny because it made a number of people mad that were having it inspected and whatnot. I'm like, should have put a deposit on it. So my plan was, it's a long way away, it was in Texas. And I'm thinking, it's a modern car, it runs. I'll just fly down, check it out if I like it, have the money call and have the money wired. Like I'm not gonna wire it until I see it because that's a big purchase. You know, I'm not gambling on a Gallardo I haven't seen. Fly down there, arrive at the little dealership, and the previous owner, he's bringing it by. And he wasn't initially going to, it was just going to be done through the dealership. But it was kind of fun because the guy shows up and I hop in it to do a little test drive and we're driving along. And I can't remember how it came up, but he goes, you look kind of familiar. And I was like, well, you in the cars or the car scene at all? He's like, yeah, a little. I'm like, do you watch YouTube? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you watch VINwiki? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, Badmobile? And he's like, what? It was funny. Test drove the car, clutch was good, the gears are all there and working well, it's got oil pressure, it cools, it's doing the things it should. Truthfully, there's a number of things about the car, and it's nothing negative towards it or the previous owners, but and this helped me afford it. It wasn't the most perfect looking Lamborghini in the world. He had used it, he'd enjoyed it. The tires on it were kind of sad. A couple of wheels got curb rash. Things like this that helped make it less attractive to certain people and more ability for Casey to buy it. And then I can fix it up, make it perfect, and enjoy it. So that's the thing. So made the deal, wired the money. It was good fun. Went out to lunch with the gentleman in his Rolls Royce. So that was kind of fun. And then we went and got the stock wheels, and we were from his house, and we were going to take them to FedEx to send back. And it's like, take the Rolls Royce. I guess it's your truck, But wouldn't fit, so we took an SUV or something. But it seemed kind of funny to me at the time. What was interesting to me, I believe he was the second owner, but the first owner was Chris Tucker. That was the comedian and actor that I remember from Ruby Red in The Fifth Element, which is a very memorable thing for people that grew up in the 90s. Rush Hour with Jackie Chan, which one of y'all kicked me? So pretty great. But anyway, make the deal. It's great fun. I'm hopping in it. It's the middle of the day, and I'm in Texas from Ohio. That's a long way. So I hop in the car, and I'm like, okay, baby, don't explode or break. Nobody hit me. I'm like, let's start this relationship. Yeah, the radio was not working. It was like turning on and off randomly on itself. The air conditioning worked, which I was thankful for. Getting out of town, getting on the roadway, I stopped at a gas station, I bought a couple of tools, I ended up fixing the radio, it worked great, although it took me a while to get it to pair with my phone and stuff, but got to start a road trip. So about an hour in, two in, started to feel less nervous about what did I just buy with all the money in the world. And it was a good car. It felt a sense of pride, but it was starting to talk to me. It was starting to have a personality. And I went after this because I love the mark of Lamborghini. I love a mid-engine car. I love sophisticated engines with way too many cylinders because they sound beautiful, and having a manual transmission, scratches that itch for me in terms of being a car guy, builder, mechanic, and getting to feel it and talk to it and live the exhaust note of the engine. And that's why I love it. And so now I've got the Texas highways to get back. And as it rolls on, you get more comfortable with the car. Now the music's working and it's running well. And I missed a turn. And I ended up on these nice 55 mile an hour kind of sweeping roads and turns. And I was really starting to enjoy it with my right foot more and more. And it was funny because when I first bought the car, the tires were terrible. The nose, it had a later nose put on, which I liked, but the fiberglass or the composite floor down here was not where it should be. It was under this level instead of above this level. And I'm like, it'll be fine for the drive home. I'm not gonna get at it that hard. So I'm passing a lot of cars over a span of time because they're not enjoying their day as much as me. And I was really enjoying it. There was a moment coming up when I was just driving along, and it was the strangest thing. There was a 140 mile an hour gust of wind. It just came out of nowhere at the front of me. And at that moment, at that amount of airspeed, the under tray went like that immediately into the ground. So it's like, car sounding great, yes! Oh, shit. So I very nonchalantly pulled over and thought, oh God, where in Texas am I? And I've just done what? So now I got to get off in the side of the roadway, turn on the hazards, and get out and put this on. Now, I kind of figured what happened, and I'm like, how much did I ruin? So I got out and looked. It wasn't bad. So I just had to grab the composite and kind of like brake/jam it up there, and it'll be fine. But the worst part of that moment was the time it took me to do that on the side of the road. Every single person that I passed then passed me. But it was a really pretty day. I was really enjoying it. And then got on the highway in Texas, which, by the way, Texas, well done with your general rate of speed you travel. I appreciated that from everybody there. So got to cruise along nicely, and it was just really enjoying the car. Still a little nervous because obviously that just kind of like broker came out of place, but being nice to the car. It felt good going to a gas station. I was starting to feel happier and happier. Got up to the Dallas area, stayed with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. It was nice visiting them. This was kind of fun. And then it was just across America, eventually making it up to Missouri and St. Louis. Stayed with my mother and father-in-law. That was fun. And of course, parked it in their neighborhood. And immediately, all of the 20-year-old bros had to come out immediately, and that I think had been drinking already that day. So it was entertaining, but then my father-in-law was like, why don't we park it in the garage? It's kind of drawing some strange attention. Well, the next day, it was my last day, just going home, and the car was everything I wanted my Countach to be in the past, but wasn't. It was coming to me in a way that felt good and I'd hope. And truthfully, back when I think I had my Countach and worked on Ferraris and such, I was a snob towards Gallardos too, because I'm like, Lamborghini's V12. It's got scissor doors, and it's a Countach, Diablo, or Murcielago, and a Gallardo's just for the cheapos that want your baby Lamborghini. I was such a jerk. That's what I thought. Not that I could even afford them at the time too, but I still had an opinion. That was when the car really was becoming everything I wanted my Countach to be, but it wasn't. Leaving the west side of St. Louis in the Eureka area, and I was gonna be driving through St. Louis. It was a beautiful day, it was a morning, and I was feeling great, and I had my phone paired to the stereo that was working, and I go, oh, I know exactly what song/intro I wanna listen to, which is cliche, but I guarantee a whole lot of people watching this will be afraid to admit, but say, we have listened to the complete intro to Cannonball Run more than one time in our car driving alone, because it just sounds perfect. The black Lamborghini V12 in it with the song, it just works, it's fun. So I think I listened to that 2 or 3 times driving through St. Louis, and I got through St. Louis very quickly. Got back to Ohio, brought it home, showed my wife. She was all excited. She loves Lamborghinis. Even way back when, she did a very cool computer composite artwork on it in design school. And so she was excited. She wants to go for a ride immediately. And I swear to you, I go to open the door for her, and she goes, "What? I thought the doors went up." I'm like, can't catch a break. Like, what? And then, which is also interesting, because I swear to you, I had a couple of people say to me with the Gallardo, "You gonna put Lambo doors on that?" Pretty sure they are Lambo doors, but I get what you're saying. No. It was really enjoyable getting home. Everything was fine. The oil pressure was good. And I got change oil in it, of course. And it needs some love, but it felt really good to clean it up and have it. It is a sophisticated car that's enjoyable to drive, slow or fast, and gave me everything I wanted from the Countach, but never had.
5 years ago, the first sponsor we ever had here on the VINwiki channel was Caffeine and Octane. Now, they're our local Atlanta Cars and Coffee meetup that I've been going to for 15 or so years now, but it is now the largest monthly recurring automotive gathering on Earth. Now, you'll also recognize Caffeine and Octane from their television show, and the next season of that airs very soon on Motor Trend. In their quest for further automotive world domination, they just bought the legendary Lanier Motor Speedway, which is across the street from Road Atlanta. So throughout the next year, we're gonna have a lot of amazing events there that you'll be invited to join. But the coolest project they've deployed lately is called HighOctane.tv. And it's a free streaming network that you can access from any smart TV, Roku, Fire Stick, smartphone, or a computer. And it'll give you access to a ton of programming, including all 5 seasons of their show, some content from creators we love, like David Patterson, That Dude in Blue, and a ton more. Soon there will be some content from VINwiki on there as well. So visit the link in the description below to learn more about the amazing world of Caffeine and Octane.